Everybody's dancing in the party, have a real good time.
I have no idea why I added that ridiculous real good time part in there because I'm not for sure if I had a good time today. Did you? Well, we can go over it anyway. Anyways, we're gonna go over the same ones we did yesterday and see what what we talked about, see if any of it came to fruition, and see how we fared. So of course, right now what we're on is we are on the one that I normally don't do, which is Ripple. Yeah, I usually never do Ripple. But as you can see, I had where all the red lines are marked out, or basically where all of the liquidity points are to the left, or any kind of swing highs or equal highs or anything like that. So today, as it continued to go up, I continued to hold. Uh, as you can see, I'm going over to the left now to show you where those liquidity points are. I continued to hold up until I got to the last liquidity point that I couldn't hold anymore. And then once I couldn't hold anymore, I think it dropped down. Um, Let me think of the price here. I may have to look it up on the side. Um, it was somewhere around I think it was 39.30, something like that. It was about just about equal with the other two. I think that's what I'm drawing now. Well, no, I'm lower now, but after the 39.30, then what I looked for is to see how low it would go because I knew it was going to get low because of the fair value gap that it left and also of the breaker that it left. And so that's where I expected it to go was that breaker. And sure enough, as I always talk about the low, high, lower, low formations, it did create one of those. And after it created one of those lower, high, lower, low formations, it dropped right into that breaker. So it dropped into the last, bullish candle before it broke bearish and closed bearish. So as it, was coming up, it did not act as resistance, but as it was coming back down, it did act as support. So these notions that you have been taught that you've had in your head that you had equal bottoms or equal tops, that those are the kind of things that are support and resistance. You have got to flush those out because smart money does not teach that way. Smart money does not act that way. The people who have the ability to push these charts around know how to manipulate your brain and manipulate your mind into thinking that way. That way, you you trade that way, and so you lose your money. So, as it was coming down, and I let go somewhere around that 3.9, 3.8 area, somewhere around there. I just decided to call the day on XRP. I didn't think. I think maybe once it got down to the breaker area, I think I did put one more long in, and it jumped up and it filled up the fair value gap, and then I closed the trade, and then I think that was pretty much it after that. I didn't want anything to do with XRP anymore. Um, So, after XRP, what we did is, well, like I said, I'm overdubbing this, so I'm just kind of waiting on the next thing to come up because I did talk over this first, but um, then now I'm just trying to figure out where I go next, which I do know where I go next. And it was Flux, but I'm just waiting on it to get there. But I've already explained everything I need. I explained, with XRP. Um, like I said, once it got to the highest point, to where it could get to, as far as liquidity was concerned, where those equal highs were, and the two green lines above that were like the hope lines. If it could get above those, then maybe it might have a shot at getting a little bit higher. But once it got past those lines, those were the lines where I was like, okay, I think we gotta cut it off here. But I did some damage. I'm not gonna lie. Did some damage on the futures on the way up. Um, and then bounced back and made a couple percentage points back. Within that fair value gap, or not fair value gap, but within the breaker. Down below, right around where I have my current mouse. So, XRP wasn't too bad. As for something that I normally don't even play with, I don't even normally look at. But with the formation that it had shown, I knew there was a lot of liquidity being attacked. So I had to go with the banks, and I had to attack the liquidity with it. And with it starting a new week, and starting a new week right at 7 o'clock, of course, it dropped. I mean, you can see it almost dropped almost exactly right at 7 o'clock. So, uh, and then you got to start thinking about weekly formations, right? So weekly formations being that on Monday it may drop just a little bit lower, and then maybe start coming up, and then Tuesday it rises a little bit higher, and then by the end of the week, maybe just like it was this week, by the end of Sunday it rises up really really high, and then drops again. But you gotta look for things, that's what's happening throughout the week, to find out if those things are going to be happening. So we do have a very large fair value gap, in the XRP chart, in between 367 and about 376, somewhere in between there. So I have a feeling it probably will get up in that area and may fall back, and then maybe try to get back up again. And I'm not for sure if it's going to try to beat those highs. I think it might, just because there are some equals, but it may not. But now we're on to Flux. Yes, now we're finally on to Flux. And what I was talking about yesterday did end up coming true, just exactly what I thought I said. I said yesterday, I had my my limit set somewhere on point. I said I think a point 0.93 or something like that, and I said I probably should have put them a lot lower, like somewhere around 8.6. Man, I couldn't have been more right. This thing just went right for that 8.6 markers, not 8.6, but I think it was somewhere around 8.9, something like that. It got about pretty much double equal, as you can see, with those two lows, um, and that the other low being right around September 1st, right? Um, so you can see two lows, and you can see it falling back down into this smart money buy area. So once it got down into that 62%, I think that's when I did put a long in. And I did see it jump up a little bit, but then I could kind of see that it was not going to be lasting long, so I pulled out pretty quick, and I did not see Flux trying to jump up anymore either. I saw today as like the day of, even though it was the day of the start of the new week, it was almost like the death of the old week as well. So that's what I kind of saw today as, especially the ones I was looking forward to, the one to actually help me grow, like XRP and Flux, and the one that we'll be going to next, uh, which will be Ergo, but we haven't got there yet. Um, but Flux, yeah, Flux just kind of got down, made equals, and it's even though it's pulled back up. It looks like it's probably going to pull back down just a little bit more, probably fill in the rest of that orange box, maybe the fair value gap, hit the bullish order block, and then maybe try to come back up and fill the rest, and then we'll see what happens after that. And then hopefully it gets above that, and you know, gets up above the top. But now we're on to Ergo. Ergo is yeah, pretty much the same thing as Flux. You know, these are the ones I was looking forward to because these are the ones I think people are gravitating toward too. We know for mining since they've cut out ETH. And I was waiting to see. I was watching it fall. I was waiting for it to get below the 61.8. It did. And then I was watching it to see if it would get in between the 4-hour spot, and it did. And I tried betting on it, and it didn't work. And so I just called it quits then. But the one thing that did surprise me was this, which was XMR. Yes, my favorite XMR. I shorted it, and I shorted it right at the perfect time. It was early in the day, and it dropped right around, you know, somewhere around, right around the end of the close of the day. That 7 o'clock, around 5 o'clock, or somewhere around there, my time anyway. It dropped really hard. After it dropped, I went ahead and closed out the trade. And then it pulled back up a little bit more, and then I went ahead and also shorted it some more. And after I shorted it, made a little bit more, and then I just closed out everything after that. It's kind of unfortunate because I do have this in my IRA, in one of my IRAs, but hey, I made money off of it today, so I can't complain. But the one thing I did not expect today that I did make money off of, because I usually don't trade it, which is Bitcoin. Just because Bitcoin is one of the ones I usually never ever bet on or trade on or anything like that. Of course, I DCA it and everything, but um, and I hodl it for long-term reasons, but it's not something I typically use for futures and trade often. But today they got me hooked on futures bras on KuCoin, and I was playing it, and I was winning quite a lot, and it was earlier in the day, and then at some point I stopped, and it was right around the time football started coming on, so I kind of stopped and just started watching football, and kind of forgot about the whole thing after that until about well, it was probably somewhere around the second game, and I saw it start coming down, and I was wondering if it was going to hit that equal lows, and sure enough, it did. And once I saw it hit those equal lows, I was like, yeah, great. This is not going to be good. And so I drew that line across. I knew there was liquidity below that. And as soon as I saw the liquidity below that, I knew it was going to be dropping below that. So I went ahead and just shorted it and just left it at that and just let it ride the rest of the way. And as I let it go the rest of the way, I did see that there was an area to the left of there, that there was a little bit of liquidity underneath there, that it would probably be attacking afterwards. But other than that, again, it was the beginning of the week. Everything else had been dropping that that I thought may have been dropped, or I didn't think would be dropping. But maybe not as much, as I thought it would have been. But then once I saw, Bitcoin take the huge dive, and I was in a good enough spot to, catch that huge drop. I just said, yeah, let's just call it a day and end it on that.
Everybody's dancing in the party, have a real good time.